In this tutorial, we're going to take a look at the monthly data view, which is found over here on the left-hand side in the menu. And the monthly data view presents information in a more traditional income statement and balance sheet manner, month by month, giving you the opportunity to see the data in detail. If you have forecasting enabled, you can look at the monthly data historically, or you can look at the monthly data going into the future. There are also a couple of other things that can be done in the monthly data view. One of them is down here in the bottom right hand corner, where you can export this data into a CSV format, and that will drop the data out into an Excel CSV, so that if you want to use that data or manipulate that data in Excel, you can. The other thing that is in the monthly data is the editability, and to turn on editability within monthly data, you click the edit button up here in the top right hand corner, and that turns on the action menu. And the action menu gives you the ability to do a number of things. Let's look at the four components in the action menu. The first is retag, the second is reallocate, the third is merge, and the fourth is add to group. If I wanted to retag one of these components, let's say I was looking at an indirect cost line that I had accidentally tagged as interest, but it wasn't interest, it was in fact something else. I would select retag, all of the other tags appear, and I can now select the tag that it is. If it wasn't interest, it was something else, I might select other and apply, and it changes that tag to the tag that you've now selected. I'm going to put that back now because that was an interest charge, and that also shows you that you can reverse a retag if you have made a mistake. So retagging is fairly easy to do. The other thing you can do within retagging, and this is a very useful feature in the software, is you can move entire lines from indirect cost into direct costs, or vice versa. And this gives you the opportunity, as you start to fine-tune your definition of direct costs and indirect costs, moving components between, and it moves the entire line so that you've got consistency in terms of your analysis. The next thing that you can do on the menu is to reallocate, and this gives you the ability to move an amount out of one line into another line. I've selected unspecified remainder because that's a common place where we are going to want to move a component out and put it in somewhere else. And you can identify the amount that you want to move, and you can do this as a single month or multiple months. You can put a different value into each month. You can move whatever dollar value you want to move, and you then identify the line you want to move it into. Now, in the first instance, it's going to show you the numbers that have already been established. But if I, for instance, had identified that $2,000 was an advertising expense, and I wanted that listed in its own right, I could define advertising expense. It's going to show the reduction in the unspecified remainder at the top, and it's going to show the amount that's coming down into advertiser expense. If it's a new line that I've defined at the bottom, I then have to tell the system what tag it is and apply, and that has now created that additional line. It's taken the amounts out of the specified remainder and put them into advertising. That's a good opportunity to show you the third option in the menu, which is merge. Now, be careful how you use the merge feature, because what it's going to do is it is going to merge an existing line into another existing line, and the first line that is defined is then going to be removed, and all of the dollar values that were in that line will go into another line. So let's say, for example, this advertising expense that I just reallocated out of unspecified remainder, I now wanted to put back in unspecified remainder because I may have moved the wrong thing. That is easy to do. I select the line that I want to merge into the second line, I select merge, and I then define the line that I want it to go into, and you can now see that the $2,000 that was in advertising expense will increase the value in the line that you're merging into, and then the first line disappears. Merging lines is very useful when you've had a change in your chart of accounts, and an account may have had a different name. So it might have previously been called Revenue Class A. It now might be called Class A Revenue. You know that they're the same line, but you've seen a value up to a certain date in one, and then a value on the next line from the next month onwards. And clearly they're the same, but it's a chart of accounts change, and you just want to merge them into one. The final component that we can use is a concept called grouping, and you can see in this demonstration data set that I have a group set up called marketing, and I can see the marketing group as a single total, or I can see the components. So let's first of all split out of unspecified remainder $1,000 a month, and we're going to call this Marketing Zone 3. So that has created the line Marketing Zone 3, and we would now like to add Marketing Zone 3 to the marketing group. So we find the line and we say add to group, and we identify the marketing group, and it now adds it into that group. If you wanted to add a line into a group that hadn't been created, you would first define the group name, and then you would add the line into that group. Those are the edit features in the monthly data. They're useful for tidying up monthly data once you've brought it in and making it look a little bit easier to read going forward.